I can't.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Three Crones and the Woo Woos podcast. I am Gayle Nicholson, one of your hostesses. I do the spotlight as well, and we make miracles over at Your Life Reimagined. Next to me, I have Ms. Krista Ducharme, intuitive healer, teacher, and life coach with Dimensional Healing with Krista. That's on Facebook. And Joanne Angel Barry Colon, certified personal trainer, intuitive healer, and cosmic energy reader at Holistic Fitness, New York. How are you ladies doing this week? This has been kind of an interesting week, hasn't it? Krista?
Yeah. Yes, it has. It is. It's a great week for us. Things are opening and things are expanding and things are closing. And I feel like you inhale and you exhale. A lot of inhale and exhale. Yeah. So no, the good thing is, and you were on a call with me earlier when I got the news that Germany is going to open once we get both double vaccinated, which happens for me personally at the end of this week.
Awesome.
So, yeah, my daughter, that means my daughter, my son, and my son, actually both my sons now are vaccinated. But my daughter, my husband, and I will all be double vaccinated by the end of the week. And so I know for you guys, for me to say that, oh yeah, it's cool because I can go to Germany. So I live, to give you some guidance, I live 10 minutes from the German border. I live 30 minutes from the Belgian border. So when I say it gives you a little bit more freedom. And I'm not saying that it still doesn't mean I don't need to go get tested, because I'm sure that's going to happen. But.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I relate to that a little bit in that I used to live in Detroit, and it was 10 minutes to Canada and 30 minutes to Ohio.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, even when I lived so I spent my high school years in Maine, and I went to school in New Hampshire my junior and senior year. I went to a private high school, and it took me 25 minutes to drive there from our house in Maine. And so it was like we lived in Maine, and I worked and went to school in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's just like crossing borders. Oh, whatever. I remember bringing friends who would come visit. It's like, oh, hey, do you feel like going to Vermont for some ice cream? Let's go. Let's go over to Vermont for ice cream.
Because that is where they grow the best ice cream. Ben and Jerry's. Well, just saying.
Yeah, they just grow it there. That's exactly what they do, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have ice cream flavored grass for the cows, apparently. I don't know.
There you go. But Ben and Jerry's still, really.
Well, we'll dig into that later. I want to hear how Joanne's doing. Is spring springing in New York? They say that there's nothing so beautiful as spring in New York.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just such weird weather. It's still not quite, I don't know. It's cloudy a little bit part of the day, and then it gets sunny like mid part of the day, and then it gets cloudy again. So it's just not quite settling in just to whatever the heck it wants to be. But it's not cold.
Well, that's good.
Yesterday, it pretty much rained like half the day, but it is spring. And when it's like literally starts to look like it, probably in June, it will start to feel and look like spring. A week before summer kicks in is when we're like, oh, it's spring. But that's usually what happens. We sort of lose spring. It's either we have too long of a winter, or we have like just about a week of spring and then we fall into summer. But I'm not quite sure what we're doing right now with this weather.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that you're like right on the Atlantic Ocean. And the reason I say that is because I went to California for a month in the month of June, right? And they have this thing there called June gloom, where it's like hazy and overcast until the sun finally gets burned through it by noon. And then the afternoon is gorgeous. But I was so bummed because I'm like, oh, yeah, I could see the sunrise. You don't get the sunrise with June gloom.
No.
Where were you?
I was, what was the town name? It was like near Westminster, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's down in San Diego. You get some pretty lovely, sunrises. Now, I've been in San Diego in spring.
No,
I had to think when I was there.
LA. It wasn't
Oh, yeah,
as
well,
far south as
No,
San Diego.
honey, you weren't getting gloom. You were getting smog. I'm like, darling, I know the difference.
Right?
Yeah.
The only way you can tell really is one's gray and one's brown. But
So if you're close to LA, it's smog, you know. But
Yeah.
we'll call it fog. Okay. No.
I'm sure you're right. Alrighty. So, well, here in Arizona, it's kind of to a certain extent like what Joanne's talking about. It's like we miss spring. It goes from, oh, this is comfortable, this is beautiful, winter has gone away, to, God, give me the fan, please.
You said it's almost 100, right? Last week when we were talking,
yeah.
we were hitting 100 this week.
Yeah, and it was gorgeous last week. This week it's pushing at 100, and then next week it's going to be gorgeous again. So we get that little flippy floppy thing too, until it settles in, and then it'll be in the 90s maybe for 2 weeks, and then it'll hit 100, and about a week later it won't dip back under 100 for the rest of the summer.
Oh, wow.
Holy
A
snap.
month later, it'll hit about 110. And that's the hard part of summer. When it goes above 110, even Arizonans are going, just kill me. This is just unbelievable.
Come visit me. Come visit me. Do you see? I'm in a sweater. I have a scarf on still.
Yes.
Now, granted, to give you guys, it's a light scarf.
Light scarf, yes.
But, because it breaks up color a bit here,
Right?
because I don't have enough color going on. Yeah.
Oh, goodness sakes. Well, thank you everybody out there who has joined us. We do have a few viewers out there on Facebook. Tracy's the only one that's commented so far. So I invite everybody who's watching, whether you're watching now or on the replay, come in, like, comment, and share our broadcasts so that you can be entered into our weekly drawing for one of these really, really cool things. Oh, wait. I got to get there. Oh, that's it. The translucent selenite charging slab. That's what we've been giving away for the last couple of months.
Comment and share.
Oh, what are you doing, girl?
Sorry.
I'm hearing me as I'm talking.
Well, because I usually go on and start sharing us out when we go on. Sorry. Hey, Tracy. Yes.
No worries. She's trying to school me on ice cream here. Tracy says that the best ice
Rococo?
cream is Rococo Artisan Ice Cream in Kennebunkport, Maine. Or no, Massachusetts. Yeah, Maine.
No, Maine. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It is
Really?
like over the top ice cream. If you think that you're an ice cream connoisseur, yes.
I'm not. I'm just loyal to Ben and Jerry.
Well, I'm loyal to Ben and Jerry too. However, Rococo, and I know we actually know the owner, and stuff. Oh my God, their ice cream is amazing. So the owner actually is an artisan in terms of what she makes. So she doesn't make your basic chocolate chip ice cream.
Okay.
So think of chocolate chip. Maybe she'll throw in, and oh my God, I don't want to give her ideas, but she'll add in all these flavors and tastes because she travels the world. And so she brings all these flavors back and she combines them. And you will think, like I had a chili honey, I can't even remember what it was because it was a few years back. It was before I moved to Australia. And so it was amazing. It was over the top because I never would have put these flavors together. but it is incredible ice cream. I highly recommend them. Yes, they are not a sponsor, but I will tell you.
I was gonna say,
They're a
hey
sponsor
Tracy, tag them. If they've got a
She
Facebook
did.
page,
She just tagged them.
tag them and let them know that we're chatting them up over here.
Yeah.
Because if they've got
Yeah.
the best ice cream in America and they can beat Ben and Jerry, I want to talk to these people.
Okay, so Ben and Jerry. Okay, so yeah, they can, but Ben and Jerry's is like here, and I love Ben and Jerry's. Actually, it's really funny. Kevin and I stood in front of the Ben and Jerry's freezer the other day and had a big discussion about Ben and Jerry's and the ice cream, and we walked by without buying any. I thought that was pretty darn amazing of us, because our waistlines don't need Ben and Jerry. However,
Okay.
so Ben and Jerry is here, and like Rococo is like up here.
But do they give them cute names like Americone Dream?
They are cute names, and I just can't think of one. Tracy, drop a name. I can't think of a name.
They also
But
ship.
they're really cute.
They ship? Ooh.
They do ship.
Ooh, that's
Yes,
an
they
interesting
do.
little thing to do.
It is. It's awesome ice cream. Tracy's like going, oh my God. So yeah, no, all right, I shall calm down from talking about Rococo.
Hey, we might need to have a taste off. We could get Ben and Jerry's to send us a few samples, get Rococo's to send us a few.
I'm up for it.
It could be good. Could be good. But you know
It could
what?
be good.
You'll have to make Genevieve stand in for you since you and Kevin, your waistlines and all.
Yeah, I know, really.
She's like,
No.
over my dead body.
Yeah. How about that? It'll probably be more a case of you'll have Genevieve on one side, Kevin on the other side, and we'll all be taste testing together.
Right? Oh, goodness sakes. Okay, so ladies, I am really, really excited about where we're headed in the next few weeks. We will be moving over to StreamYard, but not this week, of course, and not next week. After that, we'll be moving over to StreamYard. So, it'll still get broadcast. This show will still get broadcast out to Facebook, so you can watch it as well. However, we will be giving out the StreamYard address. So if you would like to come in and chat with us and possibly even come on screen, those possibilities will be open. So we'll let you know when that's actually going to happen. But right now we're on target to switch over from the service that I'm using now to broadcast this out to you to StreamYard and start playing with all those cool little bells and whistles we've got going on over there. But in the meantime, I need to turn over the floor to our resident student astrologer and numerologist, Miss Joanne Angel Barry Colon. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So, big question. How's everybody doing out there? I mean, I'm reading Facebook posts and I'm feeling everyone's pain.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense morning today, especially, wasn't it, Joanne?
Yes. This energy since Pluto has retrograde, I don't know what has hit people, but every person that I speak to, whether it's through a post or an actual phone conversation, all we want to do is sleep. And the key to that is, yes, if your body is saying sleep, then rest, because your body needs it, obviously. There's something. I think it's more collective than I do think it's individualized. I think there's just a lot of collective energy going on. Worldwide, who knows? But there's just a lot of stuff going on since this recent full moon in Scorpio energy as well. A lot of stuff going on for people, and all these different shifts. And we currently have, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have we will have 2 planets in Gemini energy as of this Saturday. Right now we have, oh my God, I should have my notes. Why don't I have my notes for this? I was just talking about this last night. I know Venus will be going into Gemini as of this Saturday on the 8th. And I literally, Mercury, I'm so glad my brain knows how to work. Mercury has just went into Gemini energy. Now, when we think about Mercury and Gemini together, they actually play really, really well together because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, or Gemini is the ruler of Mercury. However, one might want to say, remember, guys, I'm a student of astrology. I'm allowed to make mistakes. So when we have those two together, Gemini is all about communication, and so is Mercury. Yeah. So it makes a really great game to have those two together. But it could also be really intimidating because it activates communication and things that we may want to say, things that we may not want to say, but then also taking note wherever Gemini sits in, wherever Mercury sits in your chart. And if you also have Gemini as one of your main astrological signs as well.
Right.
You know, so there is a lot of energy going on. And there's going to continue to be a lot of energy going on because, like I said, come this Saturday, Venus is going to join the group in Mercury. And Venus is our planet of love, relationship, and money. So there will be conversations about money on all aspects in reference to possibly because businesses are going to open up. So there may be some energy in reference to people raising their rates, new types of programs coming in. So there's so many different ways this can go for all of us. Well, you know, and then within a matter of, I think we still have a little while, but 2 weeks from now, we're going to be changing signs. You know, so there's a lot of energy shifting going on since this Pluto has gone retrograde.
Nice.
And this, if I'm not mistaken, Tuesday is our new moon in Taurus energy. Yeah. So that itself has a lot of energy behind it. Now, I don't know about our viewers, but I know the three of us, because we are all water signs to some degree, we are feeling this new moon shift already. Because like I said, this is coming in on Tuesday. We're 1 week away from this new moon energy. So we're all starting to feel this process of something new rolling in. Transitionings happening for each and every one of us, whether we're aware of it or not. Right. Such as I got a new tongue that I'm learning how to use today.
That is a blessing in itself.
There are days I could use a new tongue, that's for sure.
Exactly. And they said, why not? Why not give you a new tongue when we have Gemini and Mercury together? Great thing to do. Awesome. Thank you.
Now,
yes.
I wanted to ask you, I understand that Mercury rules Gemini, and we're going in, you know, the Mercury's going to be going retrograde into Gemini, and Venus is going to be in there as well. Now, Gemini is the sign of the twins, the not necessarily balanced, but two reflective mirror presences, right?
Yeah, frick and frack.
Right? Yeah. So what does that do to the communication, and when Venus joins in there, the love communication? Because over here, uneducated, not even a student astrologer that I am, I'm going, ooh, there's going to be some revelations of people messing around.
Wow.
Yeah. It all depends on where it sits in the chart. It's so funny because I was actually saying to my husband yesterday, I was like, oh, and you know, if we have any little ones watching this show, please cover their ears just for a moment. You know, I said to my husband, I said, our bedroom's going to get really sexy and sassy. And he says, why is that? I said, because Venus is going into Mercury, into Gemini rather. And he's like, oh, he goes, what's that mean? I says, you and I are going to talk nasty to each other.
There you go. So maybe I'm not quite so off with that little assumption.
Exactly. Yes. Flirtation is going to come, you know, get a little higher. But again, depending on, where it all sits in one chart, you know, but the energy is definitely going to be there. we may find ourselves getting a little bit more lovable, more playful, and at the same token, it could also flip flop the other way around, where we become really nasty.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people don't know how to sweet talk themselves. So it's like when they hear something sweet that doesn't sit well in their ears, so it may end up triggering something that doesn't sit well with them. So it can go either way. But I'm all open for the flirtation, the playfulness, the let's have a good time, let's heat up the bedroom.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's where I am. I'm all for that.
We got a question for you from Tracy. Tracy's asking, is it possible that the Pluto retrograde could affect a big sleeper in the opposite way? The past few nights I have not been feeling tired until the wee hours and having much shorter nights and not feeling so tired the next day.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, again, the whole concept of, those of us who might be feeling tired, it's just we'll use the word heavy energy, but then at the same token, you might have someone like Tracy who's got a burst of energy and doesn't need a lot of sleep. So again, really what house Pluto is sitting in her chart is going to play a role there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And, and how sensitive she is to other people's energies as well. Like I know for myself, I last 2 weeks, I can probably even stretch it and say 3 weeks, I participated in a lot of different energies where I was not familiar with a lot of the people I was connecting with. So right off the bat, because there were so many new energies around me, it was just like, whoa. So yes, all the excitement of doing what I did, but then when it was all finished, it was like, whoa, I literally felt as though someone beat the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is going on? And to boot, my husband wasn't feeling well either. So it was just one of those two things. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious, what the hell is going on?
As you were talking about that, I'm wondering, because Pluto, of course, being the god of the underworld, right?
Yes.
And I personally know a woman who had to deal with the day after Pluto went retrograde. Her father-in-law died, and just like within 3 days before that, she'd found out that her mother had passed, but she had been alone for 3 weeks before anyone found her.
Oh,
so like the day after Pluto goes retrograde, she's finding out about her mother and her father-in-law dying. And I think that's where the heavy energy is coming, because there are a lot of people that transformation and that transitioning means that these people that we love are passing, and that heaviness, that grief that's left behind, I think is what a lot of our sensitive people are picking up and processing for people who are overwhelmed.
In fact, I was just having a conversation about this with someone just the other day in regards to Pluto being retrograde and Pluto being the planet of transitionings and rebirths, and it's sad that when Pluto does go retrograde, this is what happens. We do tend to hear more deaths occurring during this retrograde period, because it's a matter of this is a contract, and this is how I speak of it, and for those who might feel that I'm not being sympathetic or compassionate, please do not take it this way, but this is their contract. They chose this particular retrograde to cross over, to go home, and it can cause heavy energy in the collective, because again, such as like Gayle saying, here's somebody, they found out their mother passed, but their mother passed several days prior than when they actually heard the news. That's, oh my God, that's heavy to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well,
thank you for that.
We are definitely in very high energy right now, and it's only going to get more exciting, because besides for Pluto being retrograde, Saturn's going to go retrograde in about 2.5 weeks, and then to follow Mercury's going to go retrograde. So yeah, we got retrogrades coming in.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'm welcoming it because when we slipped into that time period recently where there were no planets in retrograde, as some of the nastiest few weeks that I have experienced in years for me personally.
Oh, why so? Can you put your finger onto what was going on that created that, or you haven't figured that out?
I'm really not sure, and I'm sure there were many factors, but I'm a Libra. I am a creature of balance. Okay.
Yes.
And when you've got no planets in retrograde, the galaxy, the universe is unbalanced. Right?
That's a good way of
Everything's
putting
on
it.
one side.
Oh yeah, yes.
As
yes.
opposed to, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. It has to be balanced. I mean, the planets can be anywhere as long as it's balanced, right?
Mhm.
And I'm guessing, I'm pulling at straws here. I just know that it was really, really difficult for me to get out of my head. I was obsessive. I was, living in fantasy, and just feeling like awful, right? And, as soon as actually this last week when Pluto went retrograde, I got this burst of energy.
Huh.
It was very, very odd. So yeah, just sign me up under freak. That's what it is.
It's interesting though, because what comes to me as you're saying, and this is probably something you probably have to connect with Kendrick on, because again, reminder, I'm a student of astrology, so I'm not quite capable of giving you this answer. But it sounds to me that you might have had some personal retrogrades in your chart and may not even be aware of it.
You know what? That's a great idea, because all of these charts that you get on these apps and stuff like that, I don't think I've ever seen one that says, okay, here's where all of your planets are, and this one's got a little R next to it, like it was retrograde at that time. Like you don't see that in the chart. So I honestly don't know if any planets were retrograde. I was probably born with Mercury retrograde, which is why I like it so much. I do. I'm one of those strange people that goes, yes, I've got time to research and edit and do all of these things that I don't have to plan something new,
Yeah, it's a catch up.
Yeah, it's so funny because here you are, based on your personality, that you like to, do the catch up and the reviewing and everything. And I mean, I do the same thing. I like that as well. But I also like to be in that space of the new. Like, I'm working on a project right now that literally I have to make sure it's literally in the person's hands before Mercury goes retrograde. So I have 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah. Because of course I reached out to Kendrick. I'm like, okay, so what's my timeline and when is the best time for me to do this? And he's like, you could do this all now because you got X amount of planets sitting in one sign, which is favorable, one house for you, which is favorable, and get this done before Mercury goes retrograde. I'm like, oh, that's like the end of the month. He goes, yes, get it done. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like in my head, I'm like, okay, I got to be on fire, got to be motivated, got to get it done. So yeah.
Wow.
Nothing like a little pressure.
Right.
I like pressure.
Yeah.
And it's funny though. Don't take what I said to mean that I don't enjoy beginnings, because I have a multi-gigabyte hard drive just packed to the gills of stuff that I started and have finished.
No, I definitely know you like new beginnings too.
Yeah.
No,
and I tend to, because I do have a little bit of manic bipolar-ish, although it's they're not like this anymore. They're like this.
Oh, they're little,
they're just little ones.
They're just little rollers.
Yeah. But I get like Zoom, right? And then I go until I'm exhausted. And the next day it has to be self-care because I've drained myself. And then when I try to go back to it, I can't step into the same energy.
I'm gonna love to see you when Mercury goes retrograde in Libra. I can't wait for that. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun because it's going to be
It'll
all
be
your
good
energy.
for you.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have a big bonfire with all my unfinished projects.
We'll let them go. So here's one of the things that I've learned over the years,
Mm-hmm.
that especially if you look at it in terms of retrogrades, if you've gone through, we'll say 3 retrogrades, right, where it's like you finish them, because retrograde is a great time to finish projects,
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't finished it,
Uh-huh.
and you keep going back, but it's not speaking to you, then it's time to just let it go to sleep and let it go to somebody else.
Exactly. That's a good point too. Yeah, because
You know, you may have started it, but it's somebody else's job to finish it.
That is a really good piece of advice in most cases. In the ones, in the things that I've started, they're all based on me. And sometimes I get to a point where it's like, I can't touch this anymore for a while.
I know, and I get that as well.
And I can't pass it along to anybody else. But that's not saying that that's not good advice for stuff that you can't. Like, you can pass it off.
There are things that you can pass off. And sometimes it's just a case of it's all done and you need to let it go to sleep. And
exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Yes. And just to finalize one last note on this, because I don't know about viewers are aware of this, and I find it completely amazing. And I had to check in with Kendrick to confirm. This is and I don't know if it's ever happened before. At least he says it hasn't. Maybe not in our lifetime. Who knows? Or maybe he didn't check back far enough. But this is the first time that we will actually have 3 retrogrades in the same zodiac element.
Ooh.
We have never had this retrogrades in the same zodiac element. And I said to him, that means this is interesting stuff going on. He says, that's right. Yeah. So all 3, we only have 3 Mercury retrogrades this year. Usually we have 4, or sometimes we have 4. And all 3 of them are in air signs. So something to raise our eyebrow about.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week.
We talked about that, the last time, Yeah, definitely.
I was saying, it's Mother Nature saying, sit down, shut up, and think about what you've done.
Yes, all air signs, and in the head, but in the head in very different ways. Like, the Aquarius one was literally in the head. The Gemini one that's coming up is all about how we communicate, and then the Libra one is how do we find that balance to communicate.
Yeah.
So quite interesting. I'm looking forward to the next 2.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well,
I like that.
For that fabulous report. I want to remind everyone now to make sure that you go and visit our sponsor, Miss Sue over at Class Act Imports. And if you have not planned yet for Mother's Day, please do it now. Call her up, say, what do you got? I got to send something. Now, I also want to talk to you about that specifically because I want to invite you to consider that, you may look at Mother's Day like it's sad. My mom's passed away. I don't have my mom anymore, right? Mm-hmm. My condolences. It's always hard to lose a parent. But I want to invite you to look at Mother's Day a different way as well. Acknowledge the people who have been a mother to you, who have nurtured you, who have cared for you. Mm-hmm. Acknowledge young mothers, especially single mothers with children that are too young to make a card for them or anything. They feel very, very alone on Mother's Day. So acknowledge them for keeping their kid alive for another year.
That's a big deal.
It really is. It's not as easy as people think.
It isn't always.
And I'm sure each and every one of you who are watching knows at least one mom that could use a sparkly pair of earrings or, a necklace with a stone on it that eases her stress and it gives her a little bit more energy to make it through her day. So I just invite you to think outside the box and honor the moms and the mom energy in your life by going to go see Sue about it. And yeah, exactly.
And she's really good at helping you pick a perfect gift, by the way.
Yeah,
if you are unsure, she's really good at helping you personally shop. And even if she has to actually call me, and she does. So for just as an FYI, she's like, so this person says they need A, B, C, or D, or this is what they're trying to do. What is it that we can do? So if there's a specific stone and you're looking to get help for something, yep. So just know that she actually does due diligence, and she goes beyond just me for the due diligence.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. So yeah, definitely reach out to Sue and let her know, of course, that we sent you. And wish her a happy Mother's Day because she's Krista's mom.
Yeah, she's my mom. Oh, and as by the way, Tracy, who keeps asking the questions, yeah, she's her mom too.
Oh, it's a family affair.
Yep. And
yeah, it is a family affair.
Speaking of Tracy, happy May the 4th.
Yes,
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
Awesome stuff.
Ooh, yeah, we're huge Star Wars fans in this family. Yeah, Wicked.
Wicked. My older brother, 6 years older than me, used to love Star Trek, the original series, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And
that's my dad.
Yeah. So it was like over my head when I was little. So I was like, science fiction's his bag. I don't like any of that stuff, right? Yeah. And then Star Trek TNG came in, and it was like, oh, I'm all about that, right? So I started entertaining I still don't understand Star Wars. I really just don't get it. I loved The Mandalorian, but the original Star Wars, don't get it.
I think part of it for like our family is it's just, we've been able to see it everywhere. And so understand that I have lived in multiple places and locations as those movies have come out. And it's one of those things, no matter where I was, it connects. Yeah. Unlike, Star Trek. So I grew up, my dad is a huge Trekkie. As a matter of fact, he considers himself far more of a Trekkie than he does a Star Wars fan. But my husband and myself and our kids, although Jen is like, she's more Lord of the Rings than she is Star Wars. So we run the gamut in this thing. I'll tell you. When it comes to sci-fi, we run the gamut. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's kind of fun, and because Kevin and I have done our Myers-Briggs. Mm-hmm. You guys, personality for those, it's a personality test. And when we went through leadership school, they tested us with the Myers-Briggs, and they pulled it up as Star Wars characters, which was so much fun. Because Kevin tests as Darth Vader. And if you know anything about Kevin, he is so Darth Vader, which is almost scary. Yes, I am married to Darth Vader, but here's where it gets really funny. So my outgoing personality, my extrovert side, yes, I am Padme, is my personality. But my introvert side, you want to hear who that test says? Because I can be either or. Mm-hmm. I'm more of an extrovert, but I have the introvert tendencies. Yeah, is Obi-Wan.
Interesting.
So my introvert is Obi-Wan. Kevin is Darth Vader.
But Kevin doesn't have an introvert side?
No, he doesn't.
He just gets the one, no?
Yeah, he just, I think because I'm okay with, in the lifestyle that we've had, I spend a lot of time alone.
Mm-hmm.
You have to become comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's true.
Speaking of being comfortable with yourself, you're ready to rock us with the Apache Tears, Krista?
I am. I'm sorry. I'm having a really weird thing happen right here. It's very strange. All right. But yes, I'm ready to rock. The Apache Tear is the crystal of the week. So I meant to grab mine, which are in a box that's put away. I've had a crazy busy day. All good things, all fun, good things. But Apache Tears are a wonderful stone. They're a volcanic stone. So they're related to obsidian, but they aren't obsidian. They look like little black glass balls or beads, and they have typically a white, almost film to them as well. You can get them where they're really polished. However, really and truly, a great way to tell that you have an Apache Tear is hold it up to the light, and it looks like bottled, not black, but really, well, it is like a black amber, like a Coca. Yeah, it looks like Coca-Cola when you hold it up to a light. Good description, like Coca-Cola. So Apache Tears are fantastic for grief. And I bring this up because, well, that is, we all in this transition of what Pluto in retrograde and everything that we've been talking about, and so many things that have been happening and are about to happen with us, grief, not necessarily because we've lost somebody, but grief in terms of a life that we once had. Think of it that way. Something we're letting go of something and rebirthing something new. And that can bring grief, even though it brings a positive as well. So I'm getting a sense that this isn't about a negative. This isn't necessarily about a positive. It's an acknowledgement of, we'll use Gayle in her balance of energy. All right, Gayle, you're going to be in love with this one, darling. Love in this one. Because it is.
Walk a minute. I want to get something.
Okay, you get something. Go. But yeah, so so think of the Apache Tear showing up this week because it is a balance. So it's about grieving or letting go of what has been to open a new door for our new ventures, or to open a new door for our new experiences. There she has one. Yay! Yes. Thank you so much for pulling yours out. Yes. That is an Apache Tear. Isn't it gorgeous? Mm-hmm. I love Apache Tears.
Yes. This was actually given to me from a psychic, and she gave it to me when when she learned that my mom, she actually read that my mom passed away in my class, and this is what she gave me. She goes, "You're going to need this." So yeah.
Yes, I do that too with a lot of people when I feel and sense. So I keep Apache Tears. It's one of those stones I keep personally to gift to others. And I find that I gift them, it depends on the area and the situations, but it's not unusual for me to gift multiple in a month. Because, people, whether they've lost a loved one, a fur baby, whether they're grieving a transition in an experience, they work so beautifully. The thing that I also that also resonates with me, and I'm going to read it, what my friend Adam wrote. And actually, here it is. This is an Aussie who wrote this. And it's speaking about Native Americans. And this is what I love. You've heard of, if you're a history buff, you've heard of the Trail of Tears. Mm-hmm. Have you guys heard of the Trail of Tears? Yeah. It's in down south. Okay. And it's when the Native Americans were trying to escape.
No. That's what happened when the military decided to relocate them from one reservation to another, and they made them walk the entire way, and more people died in the transfer than survived at the new location.
Yes. And they call it the Trail of Tears. Thank you. I'm like, she lives down in that area. She probably has a better idea
I'm like,
than I
don't
do.
mess it up.
I
I will
won't
have
mess it
all
up.
kinds of people in my messenger in a minute.
No, because for me, it isn't. I know that it had to do with them being pushed from one area to another.
Yeah.
So this is really a cool thing. So the Apache Tears are formed when small balls of molten lava are thrown up into the air, and then they are cooled and solidified before hitting the ground. Their name comes from a Native American legend that tells the story of members of the Apache tribe being pursued by the cavalry. And although they fought bravely, they were outnumbered. And rather than being captured, they jumped off the cliff to their deaths. Now, the whole jumping off the cliffs to their death part, I'm like, I'd have to figure out which cliffs those were. The distraught women of the tribe cried dark tears of grief that fell to the earth. The tears formed into the dark circles, and is said that not only cried for their losses, but for yours as well.
It's a
So
beautiful story.
it is. It's a wonderful story. It's a great story to go along.
Mm-hmm.
There are other versions of that story that I've heard, but I thought that one was a beautiful one.
Mm-hmm.
So on an up note, I need to share with you, because one of the things that Adam does that I think is so cute is that he associates animals with crystals. So, all right, ladies, I'm going to let you guess. I'm going to tell you that it is a bird. What bird do you think is associated with a Apache tear? And I'm going to give the audience the opportunity to play along as well.
Cool. Do, 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 do,
So come on, people.
do,
So
do,
another
do,
clue
do,
is I will say that the bird is black and white.
Do, 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 do. All right.
So let's see.
We don't have any answers in yet. Step it up
No.
there, people.
I don't know if anybody is in there, but
Yeah.
we can go on to something different and then I can come back.
There you go. Okay.
All right.
I have a guess, but I'll wait.
Okay.
That's all
So
right.
Gayle,
Yeah.
why don't you go on and tell us all about your thing?
Okay. All right. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. And I'm so glad that we talked a little bit about Star Wars and Star Trek, because now I'm going to bring Marvel into it. Okay? All right? Because if you're a fan of the Marvel universe, you know, you've been watching all the movies, the last 23 movies, and now we've got Disney Plus doing these great little 6 to 9 episode shorts, if you will, you know, which technically doesn't really align because they're not shorts. They're 9-hour movies split up over a number of weeks, right? They're not shorts at all. But at any rate, they've released these two, and one of them is called WandaVision. And at the end, you know, one of the last episodes of WandaVision, Vision, the husband, starts talking about this philosophy experience called the Ship of Theseus, right? And the experiment is, you know, over time, as you repair a ship, you know, you replace a board, you replace a beam, and over time, eventually, if you've replaced everything on the whole ship, is it still the same ship, right? And the idea behind it is that the entity that is that ship, it doesn't matter what board is used to express that entity. It has a life of its own. It has a spirit of its own. It has an identity of its own, regardless of whether you use a blue board or a black board, right? In this episode, Vision says to his wife, grief is but love persisting. See, just like every other type of energy in the world, in the universe, as far as we've been able to experience thus far, energy cannot be destroyed. So what happens to the love that you can't express to your living counterpart companion when they are no longer living, right? It turns into grief. It transforms. It transmutes. And we grieve for the lost potential of what could have been if they continued longer. And we grieve for the good times that we know will never come again with that person. And what we need to hold fast to in all of that is that grief is a sign of the presence of love, right? If you don't have a presence of love for people, for beings, for entities in this world, you won't grieve them when they move out of your life or they pass away. But proportional to the amount that you have loved someone, expect to grieve. And here's the thing. We all try to go through life and avoid bad feelings or feeling bad, right? Nobody wants grief. I invite you to take grief on like a celebration. Give that person that you love every tear they are due. Give that person that you loved every moment that you need to of remembering who they are and sharing the best of who they are with the people still living, so that those people get to experience that person. And in that way, that person's memory has not died. They're still with us, right? Grief is the mechanism by which we become really intimately familiar with how much we can love, right? So one of the reasons that this is an extremely important stone for us to be working with this week and coming into the near future is because, sadly, we need to announce that Joanne will be leaving Three Crones and the Woo Woo. And we will deeply be grieving her disappearance. She's tightening up, moving on to the other things that she needs to have prioritized in her life. And we will wish her all the best in the world. And we will still be working with her in other capacities. And we still love her. And we know she still loves us. And we'll be welcoming in a new crone on the 18th when we move to StreamYard. But this is our last week with Joanne. And she'll be here for the show next week. So this is the last week that we can celebrate her as 1/3 of the Three Crones. And, maybe we'll try to do something extra special next week. Although I don't know how I'm going to get through that show if I'm, tearing up now.
Let's just think of it as the new moon energy that day.
There you go.
As it will be.
Yes.
As it will be. Yes.
As it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love you, Joanne.
You guys too.
Hold fast to your Apache Tears.
Here and there. So, it's not bye forever.
Right.
It's just bye for now. Until I can get my feet landed to where I need to land.
Yeah. Yep. And we will love you through that whole process, whatever it takes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I need to go get me some Apache Tears, so.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll need that. Definitely. Yeah. But no, it's for you, it's on to Joanne. It'll be on to new adventures or ventures that will help you land, as you said, on your feet.
Yes.
And so, and I get that. And we all get that. I mean, my life is always about transition. So I probably understand transition better than I want to admit. But
right? You got a lot of experience with it. Absolutely.
I do. But it isn't always easy, and you learn a lot from it. And so there's tons and tons and tons of growth that happens each time. And so I get it, and I appreciate it. And with things opening up, I mean, and you do have a brick and mortar, so your life is going to have to turn and get busy with that brick and mortar. So
yes. When I sat with Kendrick and had a conversation with, everything that's going on in my chart, I was like, what the hell? I was like, where am I going to land? And he goes, oh, you're going to land. You're going to land, and you're going to get busy, and a lot of things are just opening. In addition to this project that I have to get done before Mercury goes retrograde. Yeah. So lots of stuff going on. I mean, some of it I have no idea to what's going to open, what's going to do, but I have to just trust my mom in her guidance that she's guided me with, and just know that wherever I'm supposed to be going with this, I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
Yep, you will.
You will.
Yes.
You will, definitely.
So,
awesome.
Everyone, tune in with us next week, and let's celebrate and love Joanne into her new phase, so she lands lightly on both feet.
Lightly. That's it.
Lightly, please.
Yes, lightly.
Please.
With a firm plant.
Yes.
Like the gymnasts do.
Yeah. Or you could do the superhero landing, whichever, kind of goes with the theme of today.
Exactly. Whatever's going to flow. As long as I do it very gently.
Right?
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to remind you, first of all, we'll circle back around to Miss Krista's question. If you're not in the chat, you don't know the answer yet. So everybody who's watching, Krista, what's the answer?
The answer is penguin, and Tracy guessed it. I figured she would.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy has always been enamored by penguins. And so that was one reason why I have to be honest that I was like, really, Apache Tears and penguins? But here's the other part that you guys are going to love. So just to circle back real quick, astrologically, it corresponds with Pluto.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
So again, understand, when I pick these crystals, I have no clue, because I just pick them at random, and I have them listed. I mean, Gayle, you already have all the way up through the end of October.
Yeah.
So what shows up just always amazes me and floors me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you guys go.
And we've had a couple of times too where they applied to something that happened in the world. Yes. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely. So yeah, so think of it in terms of everything that is happening. And if you can, honestly, it is one of those stones that whether or not you're grieving something right now, I know that Class Act Imports doesn't have any at the moment. She's hoping to get them. It won't be until the late summer, because she wants to go. There's a show that she's hoping to go to and get them there. But if you can get them, and I can put in a couple of places, just ask me, and I'll tell you some great places to go. Get them, have them on hand. I'll tell you what, they are a wonderful gift to give somebody. And people are so appreciative when you just hand them a little pouch with a little stone, with a little bit of sage in it. And they're just like, oh, you would think that you just gave them the megabucks. But Apache Tears is a wonderful one. That and amethyst, I'll tell you. Talk about winning friends and influencing people.
There you go. Perfect. Well, I want to make sure that we are all aware, if you would like to be in the drawing for our weekly giveaway, this is the gift that you will receive, the translucent selenite charging slab. And I want to congratulate Miss Damaris Samolinsky, who is our winner this week from last week's show. Oh. time. And I also want to make sure that we say thank you to all of our sponsors, not just Retail Therapy with Sue and Class Act Imports, but also Dimensional Healing with Krista Ducharme, Wholistic Fitness New York with Joanne Angel Barry Colon, and Gayle Nicholson with Creative Command Coaching and Consulting. Make sure that you tell everyone that you can watch us everywhere. I even got YouTube back up and running, and we're streaming on my site too, so I'm feeling like I'm doing pretty darn good here. So yeah, make sure you go put those to use. Watch us on YouTube, GayleNicholson.com, and of course on Facebook and in the group. And make sure that you bring a friend, because we'd love to meet them. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this week. Thanks again, and have a great, great week. Bye.